What's going on, guys? Big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta and you are here with D-Boy. If you don't know me, I specialize in Spike and Bruce. So I only play Spike Brothers as my favorite clan, and you can see that throughout our channel. Of course, I'm not the only one in Crushing the Meta. We have a big group, so we do have other decks to show as well. But you guys asked me to make a deck profile on my Grade 4 Bruce, which is the deck that I play competitively when it comes to Overdress. And it's a very strong balanced build, and I wanted to show it to you guys. So let's go ahead. I did make another video, so there are two videos. The other video where I go fast through the deck profile first, then I explain what other cards you could put in the deck, explain also my choices, and I also talk about the two flexible cards that are in the deck. In this build, I'll actually also explain the skills. I will not read them out, but I will explain them, and I will also talk a little bit about the flexible cards that are in the deck. So both videos are not short, but the other one does show the deck profile faster if you don't want to read explanations or hear explanations. Alright, so first let's go through the right deck. So when it comes to the right deck, the starter doesn't matter in this build. It's very different from the other Bruce build, because the other Bruce build requires you to play Diabolos. Because you can call it as a booster, and for that reason having Diabolos is of course always better. So yeah, in this deck the starter doesn't matter, so you can play whatever you like. Then you have Steve as in your grade 1 right target. When you ride into Steve, you soul charge 1 and you call first from your soul, then you soul charge 1, which you basically will call your starter. And then when you go to Richard, Richard will put one of your regulars into your soul and draw your card. So basically this right line gives you an extra draw and an extra soul. That's it. Then you have Bruce himself. Bruce's first ability is the most important ability for this card in this deck, which is at the start of your right phase, he gives you Final Rush, which means he gives you Final Rush before you get to the right phase, which if you ride after that into Bruce grade 4, you are already in Final Rush because of his ability. That's why this deck doesn't work with the new Bruce, so it only works with the old Bruce. The second ability of Bruce is when he attacks, you Soul Blast 5, and then you get the chance to restand 2 of your Regards, which are most of the time your front row Regards to re-attack again. And that is actually it. Now we go to the grade 4 Bruce. So the grade 4 Bruce right here gives you a little bit of the same skill as the older Bruce, but not that much. So what Bruce does right here is the same, just different version. What Bruce does right here is, of course, at the beginning or start of the right phase, he gives you Final Rush. So it's the same as the other ability. But this card also has the second ability, which costs you a Count Blast and 5 soul. So he costs you Count Blast more. But he not only restands 2 of your units, or 2 of your Regards, he actually restands your whole front row units. So he restands himself, but he loses 2 drive checks, but he has triple drive. So this card, if you compare it to the older Bruce, he is better as in he restands himself as well as the other cards, but it costs you a Counter Blast. So that's it. But he also gives you 2 more cards to the hand, because first you have triple drive, then you have 1 drive, single drive. So you have 4 drive checks, while the other one gives you only 2. So in my opinion, this is just a way better version. But lots of people don't agree with me, because of course when you build the grade 3 Bruce, you could build it differently, as in you have cards that work better with the older Bruce. But all in all, I think that this card is better. So that's it for the grade 4 Bruce. He will chill right here. Nah, he will chill. He will chill away. Now we go to the orders. So for the orders, we play 4 copies of Hell Dive. Its real name is Hell Blast Full Dive, but I call it Hell Dive. Hell Dive not only being a beautiful SP, but in my opinion the better order. if you want to hear my explanation on that, you check the other video. There's a section which says orders. You could click on that and you could see why I feel like this is the best order. But to balance the deck out, you kind of need a countercharger sometimes, especially if you only have one CB on that turn, then you use it for Hell Dive. Next turn, sometimes you only get one CB again. You could not use Hell Dive and Bruce in one turn because both of them need CB. So if you use Helheim, then you could still give a little bit of power and you get a counter charge back, which means next turn you could go into Hell Dive. So it's, as I said, it does balance the deck out a little bit, but this is one of the flexible cards that you could take out to do whatever. So what do these two cards do before I go into the other cards? This one, when you play it, you count +1, you draw a card, you call a card from your hand, and you give your front row 10k. So it's perfect. This card, you discard a card from your hand, you draw 2, you call 2, and the units that you call get 5k each. But it also countercharges you, which is very, very, very good. That's kind of it. That's what these two cards do. So you'll take this away, but we will leave this right here because, as I said, this is a flexible card. You could take it out to play whatever. Next, we have the 4 copies of Mayuri and the 4 copies of Brian. And now let's put this as well. Why not? The 2 copies of Julian. So these are the grade 3s that you play in this deck. Mayuri, a very, very, very important card to have in this deck. It's the card that gives you soul. It's a beat stick. Draw your cards. Does everything you need. What she does is when she attacks, if you are on final rush, you put one of your Vanguards into your soul. You draw a card. You soul charge 1, and then she gets extra 10k until the end of the turn. Very important because this becomes a huge beat stick. She just gave you 2 soul and she drew you a card. I mean, what do you want more than this? So yeah, an amazing card. I like her a lot. It. 2 Brians could be enough. 3 better. 4 is perfect. That's why I play 4 Brians. Brian, in my opinion, is one of the cards that makes this deck very, very, very strong as long as you could manage your soul. So his skill, by soul blasting 2 until the end of turn, your front row units will get extra 5k power. Then, if you are in final rush, you choose one of your Vanguards and it gets an extra crit, which means that you could just give your Bruce an extra crit, which will attack twice, which is insane. Then we talk about Julian. Julian is one of the cards that also balances the deck out. He acts as a Derek and he acts as a Mayuri, or a combination of the two. What Julian does, which makes him very effective, is he doesn't need final rush, he only needs Bruce Vanguard. So, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you counter +1, and this unit gets 2k for every card you have in your damage zone, which is important because he could be a huge beat stick depending on how much damage you have. Then, for every 2 cards you have in your damage zone, you could soul charge 1, and then you could call a card from your soul, which is amazing, right? So first of all, when I read this card, I thought that he could only call from the cards that you soul charge, but that's not what he does. That's what Derek does. But he could call whatever you have in your soul, which means if you combine this with this, it's perfect. And then you say, yeah, but that's cost too much counterblast. Yeah, but you could also use this order and you're good to go. So that's what I said, the order balances things out a little bit. But Julian, in my opinion, is a very, very important card. And him only needing a Bruce, which means that he would work on that grade 3 turn that you don't do much as well, which is also very, very, very effective. So, a very good card. And that's it for the grade 3s. So let's take them out. I don't think that I will take any of those out. The Julians need to stay at least at 2. Then, for the other grade 2s, or for the grade 2s, we actually play only the 4 copies of Derek. There are other cards that you could put in this deck. Again, check the other video out if you want to hear more. You could just click on the section grade 2. But in my opinion, this is enough. What Derek does is, if you're on Final Rush, he gets 5k, so it's a good beat stick. Then, in act ability, once per turn, counterblast of 1. Put a rare guard into your soul. It could be himself. Then, you may choose for every 4 cards you have in your soul, you choose one of your opponent's rare guards and retire it. Then, for every open rare guard your opponent has, you soul charge 1, or at least you check the top card and you could call it or put it into your soul. So he could give you field, he could give you soul, and he definitely give you field control. So that's like, again, a very perfect card for this deck, because sometimes you sacrifice field to create soul, sometimes you sacrifice soul to create field. You just need to manage it a little bit. But he will be the one searching for Brian's, he will be the one searching for Mayori's. Basically, most of the time, those two. I will always play 4. PGs, I will always play 4. You could not play the PG order in this deck because, yeah, you play grade 4 Bruce. And the other great ones that you have in the deck are the 2 copies of Dogo. Dogo is very good, another card that balances the deck out a little bit. What he does is, at the end of the battle, this unit boost. If you are in Final Rush, this will go into your soul, and then you choose one of your units, and it gets 10k until the end of turn. Which means he's not an 8k booster, he's not 18k, he's 28k. Because that 10k you give to a unit, that would restand again, so attack twice, so that's 10, 20, and him boosting is 8 as well, so that's 28, which is a lot. This will make a big difference during your attack pattern. So, important card to have in the deck. Lil is the second flexible card, so this is another card that you could take out. What Lil does is, if you have a Vanguard with Bruce and you have taking a damage this turn, then you could use this card as shield, and he's not a 5k, he's not 10k, he's 20k, because he gains extra 15k shield, which is huge. This card sometimes could save you, but it is not necessary. So that's, as I said, it's a flexible card. Doper, I will keep at 2. I did take him out at one point in time, but I felt that he was really, really needed. For the trigger lineup, you already see that I play this heal. You could play Ariana if you want to, because it's beautiful borderless. But I like this one more, so I like this. And I like playing fronts as well. You could take out the front, at least 1, to play 8 crits, because I now only play 7. But you could, if you want to, as I explained in the other video. I'm playing 3 of these, because I do feel like sometimes you do need the soul. But it is not my favorite art. My favorite art is actually this card. I like this card a lot. And hope that they will give us this in a higher rarity. If they do, Blazing Paladin and me will be very happy, and I would definitely play this. And I will not give a damn about the soul. For the Overtrigger, we play the original one. We play the Dark State one, because in this deck, it is the most effective, as in the fact that you have the Restanding Vanguard. Alright, the flexible cards. We have 2. We have Helheim and we have Lille. What could you put in this deck? Well, there are lots and lots of options. One of them is being Pandemonium Tactics, because Pandemonium Tactics could also balance the deck out, as it gives you more soul. Brian's will be active. You will have your Final Rush turn, as your Vanguard will definitely be able to restand on that turn because of the 4 soul, but it costs you Counterblast. But again, it acts as a 5th copy of Hell Dive, in my opinion. So you could play just 1 copy of it, or 2, and it acts just an extra copy of Hellblast Full Dive. Is there anything else you could play? Yes, you could play Leonard, you could play another copy of Lille, you could play... There are lots of cards, as I explained in the other video, that you could play, but in my opinion, the most cards that are good are cards that balances the deck out a little bit. And I feel like this is one of the cards that do that, so that's why I'm playing it in here. And I just like this card a lot, as it's just an extra bonus, as if you need it, then you could use it. And that's actually it for this deck. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys need anything, any help with this, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you out. And if you have any concerns about the deck, you could ask as well. Remember that this deck is built around my own playstyle, so it would not work for everybody. I have been playing this deck for a very long time. I have changed it here and there sometimes, but it have been for a very long time almost the same build. I only take these two cards out to put whatever I like. Every time I just put something different just to make the deck exciting. But yeah, it actually works perfect, and you could watch some of the videos that we do on the channel that shows the deck in action. But yeah, you could ask also my teammates on how the deck plays out. It's an amazing deck. I like it a lot, as much as I could enjoy Overdress, because again, I'm a Spike Weather player. This deck will be my favorites. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in our channel. Hope that you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and hope that you guys learned something from it. So, till next time.